and Trainer Cal.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Good morning, Soapstone. Love to see you guys here. Thanks for being here. Always so happy to see everybody here. And it's a great Wednesday morning, and I know everybody's got their weather situations, but we're all getting it together, right? Like in California, it's not so hot. I hear in other places it's not so cold. Whatever. We're all kind of in a mellow place. Is anybody having big weather problems right now? Because it seemed like everybody was pretty good. Are we all good across the world, right? The UK okay right now? See, that's all good, right? Yay! So let's be happy about that, right? I'm happy about that. We've been all suffering some stuff in here, right? We've all been feeling some growing pains here in the metaverse. We all know that something's coming. Let's not say the word out loud. We can talk about that next week, but not now. Let's talk about it later. Things are changing and coming, and we all saw this update of the Soapstone a week ago. Yesterday, there was some fun things like apparently people were floating in here and nobody could touch anything and all the quests were gone and Rumble's got problems and all of that stuff. So know this, all of that is being fixed. It is rolling out slowly, all those corrections. So that's all a good thing, right? Anybody got anything to say about anything weird going on out there that they're aware of? I know sometimes you bump into somebody that you're not connected with in here and they disappear. That's a weird thing, but it's happening. I mean, why? We don't know. But so if somebody disappears on you, I can tell you it's because you're not following them and you bumped into each other. So now you know. That's why you can't see them. Anybody else see anything weird and they know the answer to it? No?
Weird? I mean, there's a lot of weird things here at Horizon.
Okay, Meta Voice. Anything weird to report?
I looked in the mirror the other day, so...
There's that, right? Right. Can everybody see their legs in their entry mirror? Can you guys all see those? Is there anybody who can't see their legs in their entry mirror? Because
in the entry, no,
I cannot either.
You know what I'm talking about? Not in Horizons, but I'm talking about when you first turn your headset on. Can you see your legs? Yeah. I was laughing so hard at what we see from the waist down now. I cannot believe who is in charge of dressing the bottom half of our bodies. Clearly, they gave it to the guy who's locked in the closet and they go, oh yeah, you get to design the clothes to the bottom half because nobody can see him anyway, right? Now we look at him, we're like, what were they thinking? What were they thinking? It's crazy, right?
Flag on the play.
Right? Well, I thought Cal might be here today. Apparently he's not going to be here. I think I told you guys Cal's got a new job. And so, real life's got to take precedence. Our little cluckometer. What do we call this Meta Voice? Is it a cluckometer? What is it? What do we call it?
I don't know, but I know it can shut the clock up sometimes.
Okay, well, it goes off when we get some points up here, which is kind of cool. Everything lights up off it. And you'll get chuckle nuggets that will drop amongst you over there.
There's an egg right next to you.
Okay. Is there one? Okay, nice. I got one too. All right. I got it. All right. Okay, cool. So grab those when you see them. And that will happen throughout the show. We just have to kind of work that into things. Hey, Jen, can you come up for just a minute? Well, before we get going, I just want to bring up my friend Jen here. Hey, how are you, lady?
Hey.
How's it going? Hey, if you guys don't,
great.
If you don't know this lady, she's amazing, and she's done a couple interviews with me. Please, I encourage you to go watch those on YouTube. She's very interesting. She was friends with, you can just whip off a couple of your friends' names. I mean, it's just in your clients.
My clients from Public Enemy, Notorious B.I.G., Killer Mike, Puffy, Little Kim.
Just
Brandy,
right?
Erica Badu.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So she's been in the entertainment business for a while, and she's a CPA, and she has come into the metaverse to give back, and which is amazing. She's got a world. What's the name of your world, Jen?
It's VIP Entrepreneur Academy. I'm teaching people how to start their business in the real world, of course. It's a 9-week course. And I break down what you need to do to be successful as a business owner.
Awesome. You know what? And I'm hearing fantastic things. I was going to take the course. I missed out. I missed up on the sign up. So I have to wait for the next one. But I'm hearing it's absolutely amazing. And what a gift that you're giving everybody this class for free. Wow. And I'm telling you, being an entrepreneur has a lot of pitfalls. You got to know these things.
Oh, yes. You got to know your marketing. You got to know your customer. You got to understand your industry and your taxes and the wonderful employees and how they can get you in problems, give you
Yeah.
problems.
Oh, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So, yes. So, anyway, go check out Jen's World. It's really cool when you enter. There's a whole tutorial kind of thing going on in there that explains stuff to you. I know. We got to put it with Mr.
Check it out.
Cluck over
Check
here.
it
That's
out.
okay. You know, it's like when you live near
Yes.
an airport or a train station, after a while, you just don't even hear it anymore. So,
Okay.
but anyway, thanks, Jen, for coming in. And I
No
hope some people
problem.
stop by your world because I know it's super beneficial for them. So, thank you, my dear.
Yes. Nice meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So today we have a very special guest I'm very excited about. He's somebody that I've known for a while, but lately he's really been stepping it up. So I want you all to welcome to the stage Mr. TomJupiter. Come on, Tom. Come on up.
Yay.
Hello,
All
how you
right.
doing?
How are you today? Happy
All the better for seeing you.
Wednesday.
Happy
Yeah,
Wednesday, yeah.
You
Oh,
too.
that's
So
a
while
red
you're
flag.
up
I'll do
here,
this one instead.
yeah.
Oh, that's
All
even
right,
better,
cool.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So while you're up here, you're probably going to feel a little vibrating. Hopefully got some new batteries because I'm sure you're very popular, and we're going to get a lot of this today. And yeah, it will use up those batteries, but hey, totally worth it, right? For the
Hey, it's
love.
fine. I'll just
So,
recharge them later on.
yay, there you go. There you go. So Tom, I think when
You
I
wait for
first
me.
met you, tell me if I'm wrong, was it the day that I was in your church and you found me there looking around or somewhere in one of your
Yeah, I
worlds?
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
and
I've been building for a minute, and I started off with like churches, and I was like, oh, I've heard of Lolly D. I'm gonna go check this out.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that, and that's always a great first impression when you go into a builder's world and then the builder is there and they actually take a minute to come talk to you and say, hey, welcome and let me show you around. And that's exactly what you did. So not only does it leave a good impression on me about the world, you look at it kind of differently. It also gives you lots of information about the world, but it also gives you a really positive feel about the world creator. And I always try to tell creators that remember, I know you're busy. I know you're tangled up in a corner with your friend, who's telling you something. But when new people come in, especially if you just open your world, you want to make sure you say, hey, hi, I'll be over to talk to you in a minute or something to recognize that person. So you do that. And I think that's wonderful. That's terrific. What
Cheers.
was your first world that you ever built in here?
So the first world that I built in here, it wasn't very good, but I mean, it never is when you first start. It was like this.
Of course.
I started like bouncing around a bit, and then I came across Party House. I was like, oh, that looks like quite a nice little house. So I did something very similar to that with a pool out back, and then typical. What's it called again? The curse of the builder. I ran out of capacity before I could put beds in the rooms and stuff. So it was like, oh, I got this big build, and then I couldn't put anything in. But then I started moving on to different things anyway, and then I started realizing about that sort of, you know what I mean?
Yes,
But,
I do. I do. I think that is one of the biggest
Yes.
hurdles, right? Is learning how to bring your capacity down. That means not using a lot of assets. People like
yeah.
me, that point and click and build worlds. Yeah, we'll have a couch, a chair, and a plant, and pretty much it's at capacity, right? So you have to know some friends or learn yourself
Yeah.
to rebuild items that take up less room, and that's where you guys are magic. You learn that.
Thank you. Something like I started picking up was like, because I started building before the mesh shapes came in, and I noticed that when I started using mesh shapes, that's when my geometric was going up. So what I would do then is, instead of using geometric, I would try and make the object out of normal native shapes. And then if you're starting to run out of shape capacity, which is a maximum 1,000 shapes per world, then you start trading them out with geometric. And that's how I fit a lot of stuff into my worlds now, is because I trade that out last minute with them sort of ways.
So you're kind of rebuilding things as you go. Like, how I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
make this takes up 3. I can make it take up 1, like that. Things
Yeah,
like
so
that.
that's what I started doing, is I would start making the objects with more complexity out of like cubes. And then when although my geometric would be down really low, my shape capacity was high. So then I was thinking, I would call it a trade. I would trade in the item for a bit more geometric and less shape. And then that's how I can get things up a little bit higher.
There you go. Yeah.
So I know you've seen the firehouse quite recently. There was a lot of things in there that were made originally using normal shapes, and then the capacity was starting to go a little bit funny. So I can we even this out a little bit? So then we just evened out um the capacity meters, as we call them, and then yeah, you can put a little bit more in and totally native builds. So I like doing a lot of native builds like that because they're easier to maintain as well. Some of
Yes.
them not so much, but most of them, like them ones, when I do them with other people, I try to keep them natural builds. So
Yes.
learning that balance, and that's how I get it. So you're hitting the capacity on each of the bits that you need to without going too high on one and then not on the other. Yeah.
One of the things I always tell my friends that are new builders, like me, is, hey, when you're building, you don't even realize it because I did it. You duplicate things, you don't even know it. You're building a
yeah.
wall or something, and you've put 3 walls in there. So it's always a good idea. Like I've got a really good friend, like Iggledy is one of my really good friends that I have come in and check things for me. And he'll say, Lolly, there's 4 walls here, I can get rid of those and 2 of these. And Angry Girl's another great one. She'll see something. We laugh about this all the time with her, don't we, Iggy? She's all the way up there going, what's this dot up here in the sky? And I'm like, where? She's like, over there. Where? So we go all the way up there, and there's like, a handle up there. It's like, oh, okay, get rid of it. But those little things add up. They add up. So
They
you got to
really
get rid of
do.
that stuff. Yeah.
And if
To
you're going
help
to
with
add
the
plants in, always add plants in last. Absolute final thing you should add, because they just eat it like buffet style, eat it up.
So we're gonna get to your last couple projects that you've been working on, but talk us through a couple of the older ones. Some of your processes, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it.
So I'm quite new to the actual publishing side of it. So I would usually make them and like leave them hidden away, locked away, never really publish them. But one of my older ones was Cleopatra's, which is like an Egyptian theme one where it had a little bit of an escape room vibe where you could like pick up a coin pouch and you chuck it into the fire, a bit similar to what you see at Kings and Queens, and then the doors just open. And I had like, if you get trapped in there, you jump into the quicksand and it spits you out the other side.
Fun.
But like little things like that, and then I would see, if I could get a couple of my friends to come in and see if they can figure it out, and try and make sure that it's intuitive enough that people know, oh, there's something on the floor here. What do I do with it? Chuck it in there, and I didn't even have to explain it to them. They were able to figure it
They
out.
just already do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that. If you go with someone who's a really experienced gamer, which I'm not, it amazes me. Like they'll walk up and they'll look around in these escape rooms and they'll be like, oh, you need this leaf over here and it needs to go to the 5th brick on the side. And I'm like, what? How do you figure this stuff out? What? And they'll tell me, well, when you play puzzles and games a long time, you start to see patterns of little things and it makes sense to them. But it amazes me that they figure stuff out in those rooms.
Does me too as well, to be fair, because I'm really new to gaming as well. I only got my headset during the lockdown, so like, I'm really new to that stuff as well.
Well,
so.
were you a gamer before that, like Xbox and all that stuff?
No. I seen the advert for Horizon Worlds, so I thought I'm going to get the headset. Got the headset. It doesn't come out in the UK until a month later, so I just waited around and I jumped on it when it came over. So yeah, I never really touched anything game until then.
Wow, you've learned a lot.
Yeah.
So, and when did you actually get on your headset? Was it in 21, 22?
I think, yeah, it was about 2021. I think that's when it came. Yeah.
I think Horizons was live for most of us like December of 21, if I recall.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, that sounds about right for me. But rather than going around socializing, I would like chuck myself into the build mode a lot of the time. I'd hide in build mode like loads, and then I was like, yeah, I need to come out and socialize, because that's half of it. Because you need to come out and socialize, meet people, and I think the socializing part of it is just as important, if not more important, now than the building side of it. But yeah, so I was able to like grow a couple of friends, and I was able oh, I've just dropped this world. Do you want to check it out? And then they're like, oh, this is nice. We'll come in here, and then we'll just jump between each other's worlds and stuff. So, a couple of like people that I started out with, I just went to the pub one day and I was just like stood and everyone was chatting. Then someone came over to me and they were like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And I just got chatting to them. This was only like I'd say 6 months ago, and then got chatting, and then all of a sudden I started hanging around with a little group of people and we all jump from world to world. Before I know it, I've got like a little community of friends on here, and
that's how it happens.
Most of us build, and yeah.
Yeah. No, it's exactly how it happens. And we've all talked about this a million times. You know, if you're always in build mode, some people will always be in build mode. They just are introverted. They just don't do the socialization, and that's okay. That's okay. But then those people need to recognize that they still need somebody else that partners with them, that maybe does the social aspects of their world, puts on events, invites community. And if the
Yeah.
goal is to get your world seen and utilized, if your goal is to just build for an art project, which is a goal of a lot of people in here.
Yeah, it
I have a lot
is.
of friends in here, they don't care who sees their worlds ever, and it's a shame because some of them are amazing, but they build them for themselves and their selected small group of friends, and that's all they really care to ever see them. And that's okay too. But the conundrum is when you've got these people who are like, well, why isn't my world getting recognized? And I build so and it works so hard and it's so obvious. It's like, well, who knows your world exists? What are you doing to promote it? You know, so we talk about all those things, and I think, you know, most of the people in this room anyway are very aware of how all that works. But, you know, you guys have to help educate those who don't get it. And we need to
And that's
keep
why it's also
pushing
so
that.
important to go up and if you see someone new in your world, go say hello because that might be the next person to join your group of friends.
That's right.
Always say
That's
hello
right.
to them. You might even have been the first person they've spoken to that day as well. Like they might have docked themselves in build mode or whatever, and it's always that. Absolutely, that's the reason why it's important to speak to them, get them involved.
You know, and there are people that professionals that come here. Like one of my favorite examples is Leo the architect. I don't know if anyone knows Leo the architect, but I'm telling you, he is, yeah, you know him. He's a great person. He's a real life architect. And he was so excited to come in here and discover that he could now build the things that he can't get permits for. Like things like, I don't have to worry about earthquake readiness. I don't have to worry about, is this the, support beam? I can build whatever I want, wherever I want. And oh my gosh, if you get a chance to go see Leo the architect stuff, go look at some of the cool things a real architect created in here that he says could never be in the real world, but they're pretty cool. I would say go check them out. They're good. So let's talk about your world, kings and queens. Is it
Sure,
kings or queens or kings and queens?
kings and queens, yeah.
Kings and queens. All right.
King. Some people call it kings X queens, but however you want to pronounce it, yeah, kings and
Okay.
queens. So yeah, that was like I don't even know the reason why I built it. I just thought I want to make a social hangout, and then so I did. But it quickly grew into a sort of thing whereby what can you do if you're the only person that's online? None of your friends are online. What can you do that's both social when they do come online, but also good when they're not online? And I thought, right, well, we'll start it by putting in a game that they can play when they're not aware. Because I'd go in, some people might not be in. But started off by putting in like a little game that people can play. Before I knew it, people were coming in and they were competing on it. And then I was like, right, there must be a little thing for this here. So then I started adding in other things like metal detecting, and obviously the floor is lava game as well. So then I noticed there was like a little bit of a market in the metaverse for being able to play games while you're hanging out and not just talking and not just, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like even
We'll go to
playing
any
chess or
bar,
whatever.
any dive bar. There's a pool table over there, right?
Yeah.
There's probably some kind of a poker on the counter game, a trivia game. This is the way people, and you're right. If you're there by yourself, you can be around other people, but still be participating, or be in
Absolutely.
there all alone and have something to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's also, I think, what's great about the metaverse and what it sometimes can be confused with is we're trying, sometimes we do try and copy real life, but it's also adding in things that you wouldn't get in real life, such as a lava pit. You wouldn't get that in real life. Or like little things like that, Excalibur, blowing up a pirate ship, things like that, which are all in Kings and Queens. You wouldn't get that in real life, but you can do that in here because it's
Don't
the
crush
metaverse
my dreams.
and it's little games that add to it.
Yes.
So
Yes. No, you're absolutely right. And that is fun. And I laugh so hard every time I've been in there and that lava pit comes alive. And I don't know if it's on a timer or what, but I'll see a bunch of people and they'll all be having a good time. All of a sudden they all run for the lava pit. I'm like, oh, they're jumping up and down in the lava. And I'm like, I don't know what the lava pit does, but it must be doing something because they sure do like it. So is it points or something? Is that what they're getting in there?
Yeah, so there's like a sort of point. There is a little point system, and it's not monetized at all. Don't take payments for anything. It's all point driven, so you can't. You know what I mean? There's none of that sort of thing going on. Oh, I do apologize.
All right.
It's all like point driven. So if you get 500 points on, I think is it 5,000? Sorry, on higher or lower, then you get a wearable crown that you can only wear in
Oh,
Kings and Queens.
nice.
Or if you get 5,000 points on the metal detecting, you get a different one. If you find the sheet music and stick it next to the harp and play that music from The Hobbit on it, then you get another crown. There's little things like little Easter eggs to do, but then if you get 10,000 overall, you get into the VIP where there's like a hot tub,
Yeah,
that
nice.
kind of carry on. So there's like
Yeah.
a sort of thing where you can do stuff.
And those are all great things because we know that, keeping people wanting to be in your world is super important. So that makes perfect sense to give them things to keep achieving. I think people are all catching on. And like even the Soapstone, now it's got quests in it too. And
Yeah.
that's a great way to retain people in your world is to develop some quests. So that's good. Very
Mhm.
nice. Very good. Now, you also are doing kind of a collab with some people. How did that come
Yeah.
about? And explain what you've done.
Yeah, so that just happened really. My friend Liam mentioned that that they were working on the stuff for the firehouse needed like a redesign. So then they kind of automatically started using Kings and Queens as like an after party anyway. So I was like, oh well, make it the official after party then. And then so then now I've got a collaboration between a British build and an American build.
Which
And
is
then
great.
I seen that they were redoing it. So I went in one day with Liam, and then I started seeing what needs to be changed here and there. So that might look better if it was a bit like that. And then with permission, we ended up making it look a little bit like escalating it. So making it more and making it a more wholesome experience for people.
So you worked with the firehouse to kind of
yeah.
change their whole build a little bit, added a little bit of TomJupiter flair in there, right?
Yeah, sprinkle a little
And in
bit of Jupiter on
exchange
it.
now, you guys are sharing like the
Yeah.
events. Like they're going to be a comedy comedy show in the firehouse, and the after party is going to be in the Kings and Queens. Is that how you're doing that?
Yeah,
See,
absolutely.
now isn't that a great idea, guys? Because we do that here. We do our afternoon Soapstone sound check, and every once in a while, we used to do a little more. We'll have to see. We sort of stopped after summer, but we were sending people to the British pub to have an after party, and it worked. Everybody jumped
Yeah.
into the portal. Everybody went, and it makes so much sense because I don't care who you are. Nobody wants to be in the same world all the time, even our
Of
own.
course, yeah.
Nobody wants to be anywhere all the time. We all want to get out and go do fun things and just break away and do something
Oh,
different.
yeah,
So why
definitely.
not?
I mean, you've got yourself a headset that lets you see amazing things. Why just keep it in one place? Why not travel,
Right.
see everything that you can? That's
Absolutely.
why I'm always building, try and make new places for people to go to and new experiences, things that haven't been done yet. You know what I mean? Go to them places. Don't just stay in one place.
Yeah.
And I've always said as well, like, don't try and keep your audience in there. If they want to go while they're still having fun, travel, see the metaverse. If they're happy, and they enjoyed their time, they'll come back. And if
They will.
they don't, they don't. That's their choice.
Well,
So as long
I always bring up like Aaron has what we call an abundance mentality. Like he wants to, when people started building comedy clubs, built after he had such success, they said, "Oh, Aaron's going to get mad because they're building this comedy club," and Aaron's like, "No, hey, Warfeather, can you come up here for a minute? I need Warfeather to come up."
Do you say me?
Yes.
She wants to show you a coin.
Sorry, I don't even see anybody. I don't hear how. What's up?
Oh, I paused myself in the weirdest way just now. I don't know what I did. Hi, Warfeather. I hope you
Alright,
don't
well,
mind, Tom. I wanted to bring Warfeather up because I've been trying to get him up here to talk for a minute, and he can only do it on his lunch hour because he's working.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Warfeather
Yeah.
is one of our CSMs, which is a certified Soapstone mentor. He is a host of a new show in the well metaverse world, and I wanted him to get an opportunity to tell everybody about it. So please do, Warfeather.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Ace the Bass and I are hosting a new show in Jason Earl Production Studios, which is the door right next to the wall. Wednesdays at 10 Eastern p.m. It's actually supposed to be a show to kind of help beginner and intermediate builders try to get involved into building in the communities. So what we do is we bring on somebody that has quite a bit of experience that would otherwise not have access because they're always building. Bring them on, kind of have a conversation about a certain topic every week. And then we open up the floor for the last 30 minutes to answer any questions that anybody may have about building or the current topic at hand. Like tonight, we're actually having Unplayed Alcoholic, which will be a pretty good, event. So
Sure.
talk about the new Soapstone and kind of where he came from and how this has become. And then some of we kind of have to be careful on what we talk about with techniques, obviously, but it should still be a pretty cool event if anybody's interested in coming out to that.
Yeah,
But like I
it is
said,
cool.
every Wednesday, 10 Eastern, at the door right outside near the wall. So I appreciate it,
Cool.
Lolly, for having
Oh
us.
yeah, no, we appreciate
this.
you, and I've heard some amazing things about your show. That it's a great place to get some great information. And Ace is, and you too. I know you're very much an insider in what's going on, even in our place, and that's that's good. So a lot of good information that you'll be able to use for building will be talked about there. It's great.
Absolutely.
Great. Thanks.
Well, sorry
Thanks,
for
Warfeather.
interrupting. She even
Oh,
tried to
no.
get me to come.
Interrupting.
Took me 10
Yeah,
minutes
no,
to
I
get in
wanted
here
to
too.
get.
So
Yeah, I wanted you to get an opportunity, and I know we are during the day, and you guys are the night people because you work regular American job hours. So thanks for taking a few minutes from your lunch. We appreciate you.
I
Thank you.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're sure welcome. Thanks, sir. Okay, Tom. Sorry, I just love when we've
you're
got a
fine.
lot of good people on this team, a lot of talent on this team, and I know Sheehan is wherever Sheehan is. He's around here
Sheehan?
somewhere. He's up there.
I'm
Okay, he's up there.
everywhere and nowhere.
He's
all
everywhere.
at once.
I know he's associated with the Firehouse. He's one of my favorite, lovable, laughable hosts here. So you probably know him pretty well too. But so out of this group here, Meta Voice, he's another one. There he is. He's another one. Sturm's a host. We've got a lot of people that are very outgoing and good hosts or builders in the metaverse, still connected to the Soapstone. So it's kind of fun for us. So anyway, my dear, back to you. Okay,
Awesome.
so now you make this joint venture with the Firehouse. Have you guys actually started running your events and after parties yet, or is that coming?
Yeah, so we had one last night. We had they had an open mic night last night, and then they jumped over to the Kings and Queens afterwards. So yeah, I mean, it's usually like after my bedtime because I'm a good boy and I have to go to bed before midnight on a weekday.
Yeah.
But I was
Yes.
taking my parents to the airport last night, so I was able to stay up for it. But yeah, it got quite busy, and then it was really kind of them to ask if everyone wanted to come to Kings and Queens afterwards. So that had a good time in there as well, and didn't realize how much they're like doing the activities with it. So
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because it keeps everybody having different experiences, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's absolutely wonderful. That's terrific. Well, Tom, if you're, unless you have, is there anything else you want to cover right now before we at least bring some of the people in to talk to us? Is there anything you want to say before we do that?
Not a lot, but no, but I just want to say thank you to like help of like Yellow Horse, yourself, Liam, Thrive Tiger, Better Voice for helping me on my journey and helping me with my builds and helping me grow in the metaverse. So yeah, thank you guys.
Well, you're sure welcome, and we sure appreciate you. And you are exactly what it's about in here, which is you are the kind of person. I think one of the things you said to me, I was telling you, I think it was your church, and I was trying to find a church for someone who's a pastor that was looking for a church build, and you were literally willing to give it to him. And I think that was, you didn't know him. You don't know anything about the situation, but you felt like you wanted to do something nice for a person who might want to have a church in here. And so you're that kind of guy. You're that community guy. So it just makes sense that people would gravitate to help you and have that kind of exchange. It's that laws of attraction. People like people attract each other. And it's great to have you here in the metaverse. We sure appreciate you.
Thank you,
So
Lolly, and I really appreciate
we've
you
already
saying that.
got a big long line of people. So
Of
come
course,
on
yeah,
up,
so-
Sturm. Ask
Yeah,
your
we're
question.
here. I mean,
No, they're coming to talk to you.
Oh,
Go ahead,
yeah.
Sturm.
So my question, I always ask this: what has been your biggest challenge and greatest accomplishment in the metaverse?
Oh God, my biggest challenge, I think socializing, getting out the box and meeting people. I think that was the biggest challenge for me. I mean, I'm a software developer in real life, but I was able to transfer my skills. That kind of came more naturally, and I used to play The Sims, so that sort of thing was normal. But the actual going out and making conversation was the bit that was the biggest challenge. My greatest achievement, I would say, was how it's helped me to grow as a person. Not a lot of people know it, but 6 months sober, so it's helped me stay on that line as well.
You know,
and it's
that's a
helped me
big
grow
thing,
like a
and we
big
should all
person.
applaud that. We should all applaud that. That's an accomplishment, Tom. So it's not a little thing. That's a big thing.
And it's helped me on that a lot. So I'd say that, yeah. I think I'd say that, yeah.
Yeah, congratulations. That's
All right, well,
amazing.
thank you.
Thank you, Sturm.
Thanks,
Come on
Sturm.
up, Metavoice.
Not to underplay the whole sobriety thing, but it's easy to be sober in the metaverse when all your alcohol is pixelated.
But
Not
it's
to
a
mention,
refrigerator right there. That's the problem.
well, that's you. Oh yeah, you obviously haven't been in the VR long. People that wear this headset, they can't cross a room, let alone get out of their chair. I mean, that's why they have the headsets on. But anyways,
Gotcha.
hey Tom, how's it going, buddy? I want to let
Good,
you know
mate,
we're not all paid to just get in line here at the Soapstone for those that work at the Soapstone to ask the questions. We really mean well, yeah, for the most part. So. I understand, we've talked before about the whole monetization process, about those that are and are not able to currently, whatnot. What are your plans for the future? Are you just here to hang out and have a good time? You said you're a software developer, so obviously you know how to do hard work and make the most of your time and everything that you do. Obviously, you wouldn't be where you are in life. So what are you doing with your time here, and where's the future going for it?
I think because I think building scripts, all that for me is like a passion project. If I recently joined like a small group of builders
The Illuminati.
who are taking who are taking what you call it, paid for bills.
People that are part of it are laughing. I mean, continue.
Yeah, so I do that sort of stuff, but for me, it's not so much about the money. It's nice if you make a little bit on the way, but for me, it's about actually building. I've got my day job. I'm comfortable in that, so.
Shut the clock up. Continue.
And
Flag on the play.
I don't think
said
I'd
clock,
do
don't
any
have
sort
an egg.
of. I wouldn't do any sort of freemium worlds or anything like that. I think if you're going to build something, make it accessible to everyone, and yeah, that sort of thing. Don't let it hinder people's experiences. There's no need for me to.
Oh, okay.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
of course. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Glad you're not hindering my experience. I appreciate that. I mean, continue. You're doing great. Well, that's all I had. I'll let you get back to. Is it just me, or does this table look like it's melting halfway through? I guess we couldn't afford it in the budget for the other half to stand up. All right. I'll see you later.
It looks a giant orange slice.
It's a piece of cantaloupe, okay? Get over it. Hi, Claire. Are you coming out?
Hello.
First of all, it's a comment and a question. Your comment, I've been to your world, the Kings and Queen. It is amazing. Like, it's got quests, so it gives you something to do. Now, the question is, what's your
Thank
next world, like, creative you can be? Like, what's on your mind? What sort of world you want to do next?
So
are you planning to build another one? If you are planning to build another one.
yeah. I don't plan on slowing down really. I recently did a second build, like just a little. Like me and Liam did like a little weekend build, and we put together like an Atlantis world that was based on the same sort of concept of like a kingdom kind of thing that Kings and Queens has. But the project that I'm working on at the minute is making a very similar games point system world that's kids oriented, like specifically for kids, adults can go in, but let kids run the place. Not like you know what I mean, like a place that's designed for the kids to do stuff. So expect a kids version of Kings and Queens that also has like jousting and coin throwing and stuff like that coming.
don't like what you're doing behind
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. That is
What you
going to
doing?
sound amazing, and probably like kids love sort of quests. I mean, as you can see, we get Soapstone kids, and yet they chase after the chicken most of the time while we're talking. But that's the idea of it: is to get the chicken to get these eggs, to get
Yeah.
quests and gifts. That's all. Thank you.
No, thank you. Cheers for coming.
You know,
up.
a lot of people are missing out, I think, on the kid thing because I don't
Yeah.
know the stats. Maybe Burn Buns does. What are the stats on the ratios of kids to adults in here? Do we know that kind of information?
I do not have that information. Yeah, I
Would
don't
you
know.
would you think it's less than 50-50? I mean, what,
Oh,
what do you?
I
What do
couldn't
you,
even.
you don't have any information.
I couldn't
Okay,
even
well,
hazard a guess.
regardless, we know there's a lot of
But-
kids in here, right? I
Yeah.
think it would be ignorant almost to not address the kid part and say, I'm a builder. I should build something for kids. You're missing out, you know, especially if you become monetized. Why would you not? Why would you not want to add that to your repertoire? Build something for children, you know?
I mean,
Really,
I think
that makes sense.
Build
it is
something.
good to have adult-only environments because sometimes you want to talk about adulty things with other adults, but I think it's also nice to make sure and be aware that there is a full community of children who use this platform, and you don't want to be locking them out because
Right.
they're there to have a good time too. If you can't give them access to your world, then maybe make something that's similar for them. If you can,
Exactly.
do something for them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. Come on up, Sheehan.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello again. I've never seen you before. Great show so far. It's been awesome. I do want to comment on what you did with the firehouse. It looks so sleek and so smooth,
Oh,
and
cheers,
your attention
mate.
to detail. It's wonderful. Of course, yeah, they did a great job with what they did, but you just took it and you just like glossed it over. Is the best way I can describe it, and like definitely give the fine details. I love all about your building. It's wonderful. My question, first off, after I comment on the fact that MetaVoice is kind of right, other than the fact that it kind of looks like bologna, like square bologna, they're just kind of like flopped over. Because anywho, all right, so
It's orange and shiny.
bologna.
Bologna is tan. This is orange.
Make me hungry.
When I say bologna, imitation meat, not meat, could be tan. Spam.
Hi,
Spam.
Aaron.
Spam.
I'm just kidding.
Floated
kidding.
over. Oh, I was gonna keep going. Spam. My question, we get to the end of the statement. I'm looking into trying to get a world built for D&D, like specifically. Do you know anything about D&D? Would you be about giving me some tips on what to do to make this world eventually one day?
I can't even speak. Remix Dungeons and Dragons. Is that
Correct, sir.
Yeah. I mean,
Like I've seen some like worlds where you can like be in a campaign where you're like the person fighting, but I want a world where we can meet and like it'll roll the dice and stuff for us, and we can meet there and like play actual D&D, but through the metaverse.
I think it's definitely possible. The only thing I would say is there's a lot of cards involved, and the cards have got graphic. Oh no,
Cards not necessarily. It's dice.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
oh, just the dice.
Mainly
Yeah, that's
dice. Like
definitely
we can get
possible.
all of our information like online, but like is there a scripting thing or a building thing to be able to have the different dice of D&D?
Yeah, there is. Yeah. So what you can do is you can log the rotation of all the different positions it could be in, add them all to a list, and then set it to rotate to a random location of in that. I'm sure I could probably try and help you figure that one out if you need. If
That
you
would be
needed,
great.
but
I
yeah.
know very little of building. I haven't even finished making a waffle. I don't necessarily like want you to take your time out to help me, but any tips you could be great. But if you want to help, I will take it, man.
Yeah, but that is probably the way I'd go about it. But yeah, I can definitely, if you need, I can talk it through. There's
That would
a
be
world
sick.
that I
But
know of
you
called
think it could
Loft
be a thing?
42. Yeah, definitely. there's a world called Loft 42 where there's a dice in the middle and you press it and it jumps up, rotates. It's a 6-sided dice, not a
Right.
how many
Like
dice
20,
sides?
the main one is there's a 20-sided die. It's the main one. you
Yeah,
use.
it would definitely be possible because I think I know how they do that one. But so
Okay, I'm
I
excited.
think you're on to a
Sorry.
winner with that one.
There you
That
go,
was a lot of fun.
Shan. You got somebody to ask about it. More details
Yay,
later.
thank you, Tom.
Yes,
I'll get off
awesome.
your stage, but you have a
You
great
know,
day.
and
Great
and
show.
that's the beautiful part about this place. There are so many people. I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel in here. I mean, I've heard people say, you know, you don't have to rebuild that. I built one. I'll show you, or I'll give you mine. I hear people say those things all the time. I know some people protect their stuff. There are people in here who need to make a living and want to make a living, and I think we should embrace those people too. We're all in here with different goals, right? And the people that need to work in here to make money to survive in here are just as important as the rest of us. It's just be grateful they're even here creating these great things for us. So what if they want you to pay them for the asset? You don't have to. You know, go make it yourself or go find somebody else. But if you want theirs, respect them and pay for it. Like Jim Puddin's bird. Is there any bird better in here than Jim Puddin's bird? Come on. I don't think anyone can. I don't know if you've all seen it, but when you see
Can't
it,
make
you'll
that
know
joke.
it. And it is incredible. And I bought it and it was, it's worth every penny. I love it. It's beautiful. So, oh, what was
I
that?
recently made a pool table and I got it with my life.
Well, that's fine.
Just
And you
got
can.
it.
You have that
have a
right.
question.
I support that. Yes, sir.
Hi,
Hi.
Hello.
Tom. Hi, Tom. I'm giving this I give this challenge to every great builder or scripter out there. And no, it's not a
Yes.
bowl of Doritos that turned into a Tide Pod burn buns. But what this is, I see a lot of different of the older games, like Atari game system, stuff like that, arcade games and stuff like that, coming into this being possible to be done. But I haven't seen Tetris yet. You would think
Oh
a
my
couple of blocks
goodness.
that move in a downward position and delete themselves when they turn whole wouldn't be so difficult.
Why
But
didn't you do
apparently,
it?
No,
I'm
You
not a
can
scripter,
build-
I'm an
nightmare
actor. No,
scripting.
I can build it, but it ain't going to be able to do anything. What was
That
that,
is a
Tom?
nightmare scripting exercise that I've already tried to run it through my head like 20 times and I cannot for the life of me figure it out.
It's going to
that
be
one's-
the one thing people are not going to be able to do. You're going to be flying around in jetpacks. What did you say?
This and he's looking like that.
I can't even hear.
I think you're
There's
having a
leaf
meta
blower.
stroke.
I can't hear.
They're asking if Tetris is possible. The scripting
Oh yeah,
for
well,
Tetris.
we've looked at Tetris, but it's pretty complicated, and I think the biggest factor is the capacity that's required for that number of dynamic objects. Unless we get creative with making an array of voxels or pixels, and then just recoloring them in sequence, it's a little complicated.
Oh, I'm not saying it's
Tetris.
easy, but all I'm
Yeah.
saying is if you do create it and you don't use my voice for like the game things, like, oh yeah, what a score, I will find you. I mean, it'll be okay. I'll write you a strongly worded letter. But anyways, that was my question. Tetris, give me Pac-Man if you can. I'm gonna exit.
By
this
the way,
one.
everybody, Meta Voice is available for voiceover work, just in case you
Who
might not
am I?
know. And he also, we gotta give it to Meta Voice. He is probably the best game show host I've ever seen in my life. He's
Absolutely.
perfectly
I second
wonderful
that.
at game shows. We love having him. He has a show in here himself tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern called the Meta Variety Hours, soon to be renamed. What is it being renamed? Not Tetris. Take Two
Yes.
Trivia?
Trivia, correct.
Take Two Trivia, because we have had a big request for trivia during these hours, which cater
Yeah.
to the UK and European people and the daytime retired Americans or whatever. And MetaVoice is going to fill that void on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Zach, the artist over here, hosts our regular trivia, which is Tuesday
Hi,
nights
Zach.
at, is it 9:30, Zach? 9:30 p.m., I think? Is it 9:30?
Starts at 9.
9. Okay, 9 p.m. If you're a nighttime person and you want to go to Zach's nighttime trivia, I think we get at least 3 instances of that every week or something. It's super popular. So both of those trivia games are available for everybody in your convenient time zone. So anybody else have any questions or comments that we have for Tom up here or about the life or, I don't know. What are you doing for lunch? What'd you eat for lunch? I don't know. Has anybody got anything they want to add? No,
I
I'm
mean,
just
if you want to
kidding.
talk about
Related
what you're
to
doing for
Tom
lunch
from MySpace?
One last thing
do you know
to
what he's
say
talking about?
Oh yes, of course I do. I'm already getting my hairline coming through. I'm 29 now, so yeah, I remember that.
Oh, how you doing?
Tom
I mean,
from MySpace. Hey, does anybody still know where their MySpace is? Well, they must still be there somewhere, right? Are they
I
out
just
there?
checked. I cannot
I think
find
he sold it
mine.
off like 10 years ago.
Oh, did they purge them? Do you think they
He,
purged
he
them?
sold it off. I'm sure he sold it, and then
I
he
know.
walked away with like a couple of billion or whatever.
Okay, but what happened to all of our accounts? I had some pretty cool wallpaper or whatever we call it up there. It was looking good.
oh,
Very,
you
very
thought they
good for
were cool.
2005, I thought. I was only in the 4th grade. What do you want from me? No, I'm kidding. I was not in the 4th grade.
You have one last thing to say about building, and that
Go
is there has to be a reason to build, and you've got to know that reason. You've got to have enjoyment for it, escapism, whatever, and it comes down as well to I Marie Konyo the life out of everything, right? Does it spark joy? If your build sparks joy while you're building it, you're doing it for the right reasons. As soon as it stops being fun to do it, move on, do a different build. But as long as you're enjoying the experience that you're doing, you're building.
That makes sense. That makes sense to me. That's good advice. That's good advice. And you can always go back to it later, right? I've seen people do that. They go back months and months later and they're tinkering with something. Somebody was just in a world today, and I don't remember who it was, showing me a world. It was Iggledy. You were showing me a world that had been sitting there for months, right? You go, I just felt like coming in here and working on this world, right? Wasn't that you this morning? Well, if it wasn't you, just nod your head and say yes.
He doesn't remember. He doesn't even remember having five. He doesn't remember how he even got in here.
I don't remember either. That was the point. I don't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If anybody else has a question, please ask it now. Otherwise, what we're probably going to do is head out to the courtyard and open a portal to Tom's King of Queens, and everybody can go check it out. It's a fun, great world. I had a blast in there. So I don't know, how many people does it hold?
29.
It holds 29. Okay, so you might want to open a new instance so they can all fit.
Because it's
And,
definitely
let's
legal.
do it.
I mean,
let's do it. All right,
You
guys.
behave
Thank you,
yourself.
Tom, for being here.
Thank you
Thanks,
for
Al
having me,
Rayner,
Laurie.
Freighter, Moon, wherever you are.